Under the cover of darkness, a daring heist unfolded at Lufthansa Cargo Bay on December 11, 1978. Masked men stormed the gates, taking hostages and looting a staggering $6 million in cash from a heavily fortified vault. With gloves and ski masks concealing their identities, they vanished into the night, leaving behind a tale of audacity and intrigue. Join us as we uncover the secrets and unravel the mysteries behind one of the most infamous heists in history. This is the untold account of the Lufthansa Heist.
Good evening. December 11th may go down as the day of the biggest robbery in our country's history, and it happened right here in New York. Somewhere between $3 and $5 million in cash and valuables was taken from the Lufthansa cargo terminal out at Kennedy Airport. And the law enforcement officers say that it was carried off with such precision and such daring, you almost have to consider it an inside job. Here's Anthony Preisendorf.
In the vibrant streets of Manhattan, a young Henry Hill was destined for a life of excitement and intrigue. Born into a working-class household on June 11, 1943, with an Irish-American father and a fiery Sicilian mother, Henry's upbringing was far from conventional. Academics were never his strong suit, but that didn't bother him one bit. His eyes were set on the world beyond the classroom. In 1955, fate would intervene when he stumbled upon a local cab stand owned by members of the notorious Lucchese crime family. This chance encounter would mark the beginning of a life-changing journey for young Henry. As he embarked on small jobs after school, he found himself entangled in the lives of his neighborhood gangsters, whom he admired and looked up to. Among these infamous characters was Paul Vario, a formidable figure with a fiery temper and a storied criminal past. Vario's reputation preceded him, and his association with the Lucchese family sent chills down everyone's spines. Yet Henry found himself captivated by Vario's charisma and fearless demeanor. As Henry's acquaintance with Vario deepened, he couldn't help but be drawn to another intriguing personality, Jimmy Burke, aka the Gent for his generous ways. Burke was the embodiment of contradiction, giving out money freely while keeping the dark secrets of his abusive past locked away. Henry's path took a fateful turn in 1956 when he encountered Burke at a card game. The sheer audacity with which Burke doled out money amazed him, leaving an indelible mark on his impressionable young mind. Burke would become a mentor to Henry, guiding him through the intricate web of the Lucchese family's operations. Though of Irish descent, Henry's loyalty and prowess earned him a position as a high-level associate under Vario. Theft, hijacking, and untaxed item distribution became his calling cards. A turning point came when Vario's brother Vito offered Henry a union card in the bricklayer's local. With this seemingly legitimate job, Henry was now fully immersed in the mob world. Dropping out of school at just 16, he embraced his new life with gusto. But like any tale of the underworld, trouble was never too far behind. Arrested for using stolen credit cards, Henry faced a critical moment: to talk or stay silent. His decision to hold his tongue garnered him respect among his peers and caught the attention of Burke, solidifying his place within the family's inner circle. Henry Hill's journey only had just begun. The young Irishman had traded textbooks for secrets, classrooms for crime, and ordinary life for a thrilling existence filled with danger and intrigue. His rise within the most notorious crime families in New York history. Picture the scene. June of 1960. A young 17-year-old Henry Hill steps onto the stage of life, but this is no ordinary entry. With a calculated twist, Hill enlists in the U.S. Army stationed at the strategic Fort Bragg. It's a chess move, a calculated response to the FBI's looming threat. The Appalachian mob summit of yesteryears had sent shockwaves, prompting the Senate to pry open the seedy underbelly of organized crime, revealing over 5,000 mafioso names sprawled across the nation. Yet even as military discipline molded him, Hill's allegiance to the shadowy realm remained steadfast. The kitchen became his battleground, where surplus food, tax-free cigarettes, and loan sharking became his currency. A master of the covert, he wove webs of connections, all while donning an army uniform. But this wasn't just about survival, it was a dance of shadows, where even a local sheriff's car wouldn't escape his audacious grasp. In 1963, he returned to the bustling heart of New York City, a homecoming that marked the resurgence of his partnership with Paul Vario. The wheels of their operations turned, especially after the death of mobster Jake Colombo in 1965, which paved the way for Vario's territorial expansion to Long Island. But fate has a way of weaving a tangled tapestry, and it wasn't long before the clutches of the law tightened around Vario. By 1966, despite his legitimate ventures, Vario found himself charged and shackled. Yet even behind bars, his influence was undeniable, earning him an unofficial role as a consigliere to Carmine Tramonti, the boss of the Lucchese family. In the whirlwind of events, 1965 introduced Karen Friedman into Hill's life, a woman who would become his future. Amidst lavish nights at renowned clubs, Hill's complex dance between love and loyalty unfolded. Their marriage, through a union witnessed by a mob's inner circle, couldn't deter Hill from straying. In the backdrop of personal entanglements, another figure emerged, Tommy DeSimone, a 15-year-old harbinger of chaos. With the swagger of a wise guy and a pencil mustache, DeSimone's entry was an ominous prelude to his transformation into a hardened criminal, his destiny paved with hijacking, extortion, fraud, and chillingly, murder. A pinnacle arrived in April 1967 as Hill and DeSimone masterminded a monumental airport heist. With inside help and a hint of audacity, they orchestrated a daring escapade at the JFK Airport, reaping a fortune and opening doors to new possibilities. With newfound wealth, Hill's dream took tangible form on Queens Boulevard, where a restaurant materialized, radiating the mob's allure. But 1970 brought a sinister twist as the release of William "Billy Bats" Benvenna ignited a deadly chain reaction. Fueled by past resentments and territorial disputes, DeSimone and Burke descended into brutality, ending Bat's life in a haunting symphony of violence. June 11th, a date etched in infamy, bore witness to an eerie encore. DeSimone and Burke's merciless assault culminated in the tragic end of Bats, his life snuffed out in the eerie silence of an empty restaurant. A seemingly lifeless body was stashed in Hill's trunk, but even death couldn't quell the tenacity of the fallen mobster. A chilling symphony of violence replayed on the roadside, erasing every trace of his existence. The year was 1972, and the Underworld was about to witness an audacious move that would change the course of mob history. Henry Hill and his notorious partner, Jimmy Burke, found themselves in cuffs after violently dealing with a man who owed a hefty gambling debt to union boss Cassie Rosado. The arrest landed them a 10-year sentence, leaving Vario still behind bars while Hill started scheming anew. Upon parole, Hill swiftly resumed his lucrative life on the streets, but a new venture stirred the underworld's waters. The Lucchese family had staunchly opposed drug dealings due to the unpredictable and treacherous nature of the territory. Nevertheless, Hill and Burke, driven by their insatiable appetite for wealth, began dealing drugs behind Vario's back, employing coded language like dogs, golf clubs, and shampoo to avoid detection. The plot for one of the most epic heists in mob history soon took shape. Marty Krugman, a man familiar with the inside workings, tipped off Hill about a massive $2 million currency shipment arriving at JFK Airport. Burke assembled multiple teams for the grand operation, with Tommy DeSimone and his crew taking the role of the actual robbers. December 11th, 1978 was etched in infamy as the heist unfolded. The gang descended upon Lufthansa cargo building like shadows, wearing gloves and ski masks. taking employees hostage and extracting $6 million in untraceable money, 3 times the expected haul. They achieved the impossible, leaving the crime world in awe. However, their success would also breed paranoia. Burke feared that any loose ends might betray their operation, and so a ruthless campaign of violence followed. The first to fall was Stax, a guitarist involved with the gang for years, but unable to resist the allure of drugs. His failure to dispose of the van tied to the heist marked him for a swift execution. The wave of murders grew, targeting those who posed threats to their newfound wealth. Krugman, too talkative and demanding, met his grim fate in a bar in Queens, leaving no trace behind. Luis Canfora, known as Roast Beef, fell victim to Burke's fury when he flaunted his money in defiance of orders, leading to a brutal end for him and his wife in a compacted Cadillac. McMahon and Manry, sensing they may become informants, were ruthlessly executed in the backseat of a Buick, completing a harrowing spree of bloodshed that sent shockwaves through the mob. Hill, the clever one who navigated danger with precision, couldn't prevent the brutal carnage that followed the heist. Fear gripped the remaining crew members as they all knew too well the consequences of betraying the ruthless power of Burke and Hill. As the days turned into months, the shadowy aftermath of the heist cast a chilling pall over the crime world. Henry Hill, a master of cunning schemes, embarked on yet another profitable venture, point-shaving brackets for college basketball games. But in the tangled web of crime, fate dealt a cruel hand in 1980 when he found himself ensnared by a narcotics charge. It wasn't the prison bars that sent shivers down his spine, it was the looming specter of Burke, a once trusted ally turned harbinger of doom. Vario's wrath and Burke's trepidation lurked in the shadows, while Hill's drug addiction clouded his judgment, threatening to unravel his world. As fate would have it, Burke summoned Hill to an enigmatic rendezvous. A bar that didn't exist served as a facade, leaving them to a foreboding sweatshop. A chilling task awaited Hill, a trip to Florida to eliminate the son of Canadian drug trafficker Bobby Germain. In that pivotal moment, Hill realized that the Sunshine State had a sinister secret, his own demise. On May 27, 1980, the wheel of destiny turned as Hill decided to become a turncoat against the mighty Lucchese family. Federal courtrooms echoed with his testimonies, reverberating in the incarceration of 50 men, including the formidable Vario and Burke. Witness protection beckoned, and Hill and his family vanished into the mist of anonymity, trading names and homes across the vast expanse of the country. But behind the cloak of protection, his personal life unraveled. In 1981, a clandestine marriage shattered his family bonds, leading to a bitter divorce. His once beloved children drifted away, estranged by the repercussions of his double life. Cocaine trafficking further tainted his existence, and brushes with the law expelled him from the cloak of witness protection. An alcoholic's journey veiled the man he once was, while love and marriage flickered like a fading ember. His notoriety soared, immortalized in the crime epic Goodfellas, a tale that etched his name into the pantheon of America's most infamous figures. But the curtain finally fell on the tumultuous life of Henry Hill, passing away in 2012, forever marked by long-term heart complications. His testimonies triggered a seismic upheaval with the Lucchese family as betrayal and incarceration engulfed their once mighty ranks. Burke's life sentence for murder brought his violent reign to an end, and Vario's respiratory failure left him to confront a fate he desperately wished to elude. A haunting trail of crimes took the life of Seppi, a cocaine enthusiast lost in the web of drug trade, while the enigmatic DeSimone vanished without a trace, cloaked in the mysteries of revenge and personal vendettas. The legacy of Hill's pivotal testimonies echoes through the annals of American criminal history, reverberating through generations, forever haunting the underworld's dark corridors.